Hi there, I'm Austin,
And I'm Elle.
and call it sad, call it funny, but it's better than even money that this is the only way we would ever watch
Guys and Dolls.
Okay, so this is a new experience for us because for once this is a musical that Elle was actually in and that I've never seen before in my life.
Yay.
Guys and Dolls. Guys and Dolls. So this production's from 1955, written by Frank Lesser. He's also famous for doing the musical How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. The most recent Broadway production of which starred Daniel Radcliffe.
That's interesting. Is it a musical?
Yes.
You know, I feel like Capitalism the Musical might be a better title, but I don't know.
Well, there you go. And it was directed by Joseph Mankiewicz, produced by the legendary Sam Goldwyn.
Ooh.
And this is a little bit weird for a musical because the two romantic leads had no musical experience before at all.
Whoa. Wait, so
Yes.
Sister Sarah had no singing experience?
Yes. So, Sarah, played by Gene Simmons, but not that Gene Simmons. Which would be really, really funny if it was a romantic lead played by the bassist from Kiss. Neither Gene Simmons, who played the female lead,
Sister Sarah Brown,
nor Marlon Brando, who plays Sky Masterson, had ever had any experience in musical theater, which is wild because this was one of the most expensive movies ever made to this point.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, God.
Mostly because of the salaries being asked by its leads.
Yeah, it's Frank Sinatra and Marlon Brando. And
then you have, again, like as you said, Frank Sinatra playing Nathan Detroit.
Such a weird name.
It's supposed to be like a gangster name. I'm Nathan Detroit.
Yeah. I live in New York.
Yes. And then the last one is Adelaide, played by Vivian Blaine. This one, like I said, it's really weird. All of the sets in this are sound stages. There is no on-location filming at all.
It's very obvious.
And it's intended to be.
Yeah.
Because Mankiewicz didn't want to do any on-location filming at all. He wanted it all to be on soundstage because the subtitle to Guys and Dolls is A Fable of Broadway.
Oh.
And so he wanted it to look as much as possible like you were seeing a Broadway show. Oh. So, and I think he achieved that pretty well. Yeah. But even with that, some of the backgrounds that were used on the sound stages were pretty weak. Yeah. Specifically the Times Square set.
It was an interesting art choice there.
Yeah, they filled in a few signs, but there really weren't even any buildings or anything like that. And honestly, the costuming wasn't anything fantastic.
The suits were good.
Yeah, the guys' suits.
The men's suits were done really well.
Looked really sharp, especially Brando's. This is early Brando.
I haven't seen a lot of early Brando.
Yeah, this would have been a year after On the Waterfront, 2 years after The Wild Ones. And, so this is peak Brando as sex symbol. King
fuckboy Marlon Brando.
Yeah, very much so. And he is hot in this. He's really good.
I'm gay, and I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, my problem with Marlon Brando is that, I don't know, there's something in his lips that that's just a little weird, and he does this mumble talk thing.
It's his method thing.
Yeah, no, it's this mumble talking thing. And, you know what I'm not I've come here to make you an offer that you can't refuse.
He's not quite that bad at this age,
yeah,
though.
Because he's not 60 years old.
Yeah.
But, I'm not a huge Brando fan. Of the two big method actors, Brando and Dean, I'll take James Dean every time.
I've never seen James Dean in anything.
Oh, he's quite good, and he doesn't mumble.
Is he in any musicals? Can we watch that next?
No.
Oh, damn.
He was only in a couple of movies before he died.
Oh, he died really young?
Yeah, car wreck.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he died in a fiery car wreck.
Ooh, that sucks.
Yep. This musical was based off of a book by Damon. What was it? Damon Runyon.
So,
yeah, that's right, Damon Runyon.
It's a movie based on a musical based on a book this time.
Yes.
Okay, hey, we're changing things up. It's the first one.
Damon Runyon. It was called The Idol of Miss Sarah Brown.
I feel like this probably would work better as a book.
Well, I mean, it wasn't. Note the title of the thing. Continuing our theme of musicals opening slightly untraditionally, this one doesn't list an overture or open with one. It opens straight into a choral version of the title song in the musical, which is Guys and Dolls. Oh, and I should say that the musical was composed... I said that, Frank Lesser, right?
Yeah, you did. You did the business one. Yeah. Capitalism, the musical.
Right.
Yeah. And this is kind of, with the exception of, like, a couple of others, like, so far we had, like, Oklahoma, the musical, and then, like, Carousel, which is really Maine, the musical. And now we have Guys and Dolls, which is really, like, you know... Lower Manhattan, the musical, like...
Well, it's not Lower
or
Manhattan.
Midtown.
That's Midtown.
It's Midtown. Sorry, guys.
It's very much Midtown.
Can we get that? Just
nope.
get that whole part.
Nope.
Oh, fuck you. Midtown.
Lived in New York for 5 years. I can't tell the difference between the financial district and Times Square.
I lived in New York for 2.5 years. Thank you very much. Not 5. You lived in New York for 5 years. But she could be kind and just cut all this. But no, she's going to leave in that I mixed up Lower Manhattan and Midtown. But it could just be called, like, Midtown in the 50s, the musical. Like, it's very New York. That's what they're going for.
Yeah.
They're like, Broadway and the lights. And
for a turn of originality, Frank Sinatra plays a gangster. I'm sure that never happens before again in his career.
And Marlon Brando's character, I guess, is kind of, like...
He's a gambler.
He's a gambler, but, like, Brannigan at one point, like, says that, like, he had
Lieutenant Brannigan, who is a cop. He
had Sky listed as, like, in his, like, information as, like, bigger time than Frank Sinatra's character. Right. So I don't know if he, like, is a big time, like, gangster or something where he's from, or if he's just a big time gambler. Like, I don't know. But it seems like, he's, like, got money to throw around, and Frank Sinatra's character does not. I remember Brannigan mentioning that.
And it was interesting to see Brando do this. Well, we'll get into it. Let's just get into the musical here. So, yeah. Like I said, it opens up on a choral version of Guys and Dolls, and you just it's kind of like a quasi-ballet where you see people interpretive dancing getting conned in Times Square. They just various and sundry ways.
They use a dance to kind of show you what it would have been like, kind of to walk through Times Square on an average day. Yeah.
Honestly, a better title for this would be Gambling the Musical.
Yeah, I think Gambling the Musical probably would be a good one. Yeah.
Or maybe what was it that you said?
The Taming of Sister Sarah.
Yeah, that one. Because it is more or less a take on the trope from Shakespeare's Taming of the Shrew, or, Kiss Me Kate, 10 Things I Hate About You, that thing where, there's a bet and the guy's got to win the bet, so...
He's got to hook up with the girl whose society has deemed unfuckable.
Right.
Yeah. I like the Fugue for Tin Horns.
Yeah, so the Fugue for Tin Horns, and that's 10, T-I-N, the reason they called it that is because it is supposed to be kind of a take on a fugue for French horn. So it's supposed to have sort of that classical feel to it.
Yeah. They literally have, like, 3 men, and they're, like, at a newsstand reading about different horses they're going to bet on in a horse race, and they basically break out into this trio that, like, wouldn't be out of place in, like, the Magic Flute.
Yeah.
Singing about betting, which is I think, probably one of the more interesting pieces in the show from, like, just a music standpoint.
And that's our first glance of Mr. Nicely Nicely, and what the hell was that other guy's name?
I don't...
I have it written
down. Benny.
West Side Benny.
West Side Benny, yeah. Eggs Benny.
It's not Eggs Benny.
West Side Eggs Benny.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But West Side Benedict's Eggs Benny for short. Got it.
Yeah, got it.
That's the first time we get to them. Those are... we eventually find out that those are Nathan's head lackeys. And this is also our first introduction into the fact that this movie is entirely about gambling. Tip tail, every single point of this musical is about gambling.
Yep. Yeah. even the plot itself, like every single plot point, every beat, it's all about gambling. There's that number.
And it goes into goes into the first iteration of Follow the Fold, which is this quote unquote hymn that keeps coming up throughout the entirety of the musical. It's the only band that the Salvation Army, or as they call it in the musical,
Save a Nation,
or Save a Soul, which is it's obviously
they wear red and
they have military ranks, so it's the Salvation Army. And they have a little band.
And they're just as annoying as you would think they would be.
So we see Sarah Brown, who is giving her best stump speech for Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's...
The watch guy.
Yeah.
He's way more entertaining than she is.
So, yeah, she's trying to set up this stump speech to save people for Jesus or whatever. And this freaking con guy sets up his little booth right in front of him while she's talking and starts selling gold watches for $1, which becomes a thing later on. And so we get that, and then we move right over to meeting Nathan
Detroit.
Yes, Nathan Detroit for our very first time. And we learn that he has run a craps game forever, since he was a little kid.
Little degenerate.
I have it here that her stump speech for the Salvation Army really just kind of sounds like what they told me in my 12-step program when I quit drinking.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
I think it's the same stuff.
Also, like Arvid? Her buddy, I think. I don't know if they...
He calls him Uncle Arvid all the time.
Yeah. I don't know if he's actually or not. But, like, I think he actually buys one of the watches. Mm-hmm. Which is really hilarious that, like, he's even ignoring her for the watches.
And later on, he's like, should a solid gold watch bend?
Yeah, it's, like, quite funny.
Well, and the really ironic thing about that is that
Gold is the
most malleable metal.
Yeah, so a solid gold watch actually would be pretty malleable.
I said that Mr. Nicely and Benny South Street, that's what it was. Benny South Street kind of have like a Laurel and Hardy thing going on, where it's like fat guy, skinny guy.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
The thing, and then the whole oldest established number. It's the oldest established floating crap game in New York, and it's really got kind of like an odd, churchy quality to the choral arrangement.
Yeah, it takes cues. Like, there are definitely some cues in there for more traditional, like, music that would be played in a church, which is kind of funny.
Which is really funny because, like, religion is an ongoing metaphor in this play, and I think this is our first introduction to the fact that for these men, gambling is their religion. They
I didn't put that together.
Yep, they eat, sleep, and breathe gambling. Like, if they're not actually gambling, they're thinking about what horses they're going to bet on. Mm-hmm. And at this point, there is no such thing as legal gambling in the city of New York.
Yeah.
This is post-prohibition, but, it wasn't legal to bet on sports. It wasn't legal to gamble.
Yeah.
So all the stuff that they're doing in here is hardcore illegal. And it's really funny because Sinatra comes in and for some reason, he weighs himself on a little scale that's there.
I noticed that. I was like, why did they do that?
So he weighs himself, and he weighs like $1.35. He takes his jacket off. His jacket weighs 5 pounds. And I was reading online that this was supposed to be also some sort of metaphor for the fact that he's carrying the weight of the world in his pockets or whatever.
Somebody really had a lot of metaphors.
Yeah. Yeah, they really tried to make this movie deeper than it really was.
Yeah, is that why they hired Brando? They're just like, we want this real deep.
Yeah, so this is where we meet Sinatra's character the first time. I've never really watched Sinatra in a lot of musicals before. Same. He's really skinny. He's
a very slight man. And also, for the age he's supposed to be, that you said he was like 41.
He was 40.
40. He's a rough-looking 40.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, age has become, like, people age slower now. It's just a thing.
Yeah, but I don't know what kind of life he led, but he looks like...
Cigarettes and booze from a very, very young age.
Yeah, he looks like he was rode hard and put up wet compared to Brando. He looks significantly older than Brando.
Yeah, and I think he's, what did we say, 9 years
Yeah, I think it was
older.
9 years
Yeah,
older
he's
than
only 9
Brando,
years
but
older, which
he
is not
looks,
that much.
Yeah, I mean, when you said 40, I thought he was like 45 at least.
So they go through this whole musical number where it's a bunch of people who had been
getting shaves and haircuts and stuff.
And then, we don't meet the lieutenant
We
yet,
do,
we?
yeah. We meet the lieutenant shortly before this moment. He comes in and the two henchmen are henching. And they're talking about, like, the game. And then the lieutenant's like, well, do you know where Nathan Detroit is? And they're like, nope. And then he walks out and Nathan walks right into the same revolving door.
So
right before he weighs himself.
So the whole thing is he's trying to get a location for this floating craps game that he has. And he's really stressed about it because he's broke as hell. And he can't find anywhere to do it because the cops are all over him right now.
The heat.
And there's one place he can do it, but it's going to cost him $1,000 to rent the space.
At some guy's garage.
Yeah, inside of a garage. So they're trying to figure out how they're going to do it, and they find out that all the biggest high rollers are in town. Every high roller, they're going to be a millionaire if they can get this game to work. And they find out that Sky Masterson is in town too, which will end up being Brando's character, but we don't know much about him yet.
Besides that he has a cooler name than Nathan Detroit.
Right, so we go through this whole thing at the barbershop. And then
The number, like, I just want to say this number highlights, like, everything I hate about musicals.
How so?
Like, it's just, like, they're on a soundstage, and then everyone's getting a shave, and then every single person now is part of the song. Like, it's just, I don't know. And just, I don't know. I just was watching this going, oh my god, I cannot wait for this musical to be over already.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I was reading that at this point in his career, a lot of people considered Sinatra to be washed up. They thought it was done, which is really ironic because Sinatra's career continued into his 60s and 70s. Mm-hmm. But they really thought he was done, which is why Sinatra didn't get the lead in this. He really, really wanted the lead, but he was too old. But because of that, because Sinatra didn't get the lead, he held a grudge against Brando for the rest of the production. He and Brando were at each other's throat the entire time, to the point, and I'm not kidding about this, to the point where they refused to say one word to each other when the cameras were off. They would actually do the things where they would speak to each other through intermediaries.
Wow. I'm sorry, Sinatra. What a douchebag.
Yeah, yeah, and, Brando wanted to be able to work with Sinatra because he is not a musician. And he was really nervous about doing the musical parts. And he asked Frank if Frank would work with him on it. And Frank was like, absolutely not. Frank, would make fun of him the entire time. He called him Mumbles.
Oh, what a douchebag. I guess he had to do things his way, right?
Yeah. Brando was quoted years later saying Frank is the type of guy that would get to heaven, give God a hard time for making him bald. But the funny thing is, so now we move into this scene in Minnie's or something like that.
Yeah, the cheesecake store.
Yeah, it's a strudel and cheesecake store, and
it's giving like your standard New York diner.
Yeah, so
it's like a New York diner.
They do this whole shtick where Sinatra's trying, like, they know Sky Masterson's in town, and Sky Masterson is this big high roller gambler.
He once bet like someone $3,000 that one raindrop would like roll down a window faster than another one. Like, I remember that distinctly that he says that. Yeah. So they're trying to figure out some way to get Sky Masterson to bet him $1,000 on a sure bet in order for him to get the $1,000 for them to be able to, have this craps game. And they bet him. They try to get him to bet to see which has sold more, the cheesecake or the strudel. But anyway, eventually Sky comes over. Brando comes over to their table and starts talking to him. And it's just Sinatra at this point. The two goons have henched off.
Right. And so during this scene, Sinatra is eating cheesecake. The thing that we don't know is that Frank Sinatra, not the character, but Frank Sinatra himself, despises cheesecake.
Oh, good karma for him.
The man hates cheesecake. And at this point, Brando was so tired of Frank being a dick to him that Brando intentionally screwed up the scene in like 12 different takes.
Oh my god, I love this.
To the point where they eventually, Frank's like, I cannot eat any more cheesecake. We've got to be done filming. I can't do it. This is making me sick.
Oh my god, this is amazing.
And so Brando walks off the set looking all smug, comes back the next day and does it perfectly in one take.
Yep. I will say though, up until the point at which Brando comes on screen, like Brando actually helped me get through this musical.
Yeah.
I would say he's probably the most interesting person in the whole thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, Marlon Brando is kind of a stage legend. He was one of the two people who originated what we call the American method. The two men that we think of about like actor-wise, not dramatists, not the teachers, but the two actors who were the first people to really, really be famous for using the quote-unquote American method are Marlon Brando and I almost said James Bond. I've been listening to Kill James Bond too much. Ladies from Kill James Bond, if you want to come talk to us, please do. We're big fans.
There's a James Bond musical.
There's a James Bond musical, guys.
Wait, is there? If there is.
If there is. I'm sure there is. Let's write one. Maybe they'll show up.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
But the two people that are most responsible for what we know of as the American method are Marlon Brando and James Dean. So he, through his everything, was completely present. And like he never let there be a throwaway line in the entire show. So, you know, credit to Brando for really trying to make the best of this situation, especially in a situation where he was A, super, super uncomfortable with what he was doing, and B, you know, was dealing with Sinatra being just a royal prick to him. So, at the end of the scene, Sky Masterson fucks off.
No, they do a bet.
No, they try to do. Oh, they do end up doing a bet.
Yeah,
right.
So,
this is the inciting incident.
Yeah. So this is the inciting incident. So like it's funny because the scene they make a big point of the fact that he wants a Danish and he can't get a Danish. I'm like, why is this fucking relevant? Why are they talking about a Danish? Then it leads to the conversation about cheesecake and strudel. And then he like has the goons fuck off to go figure out how much cheesecake and strudel they sold yesterday. And he tries to get Brando to take the bet about what's more popular, cheesecake or strudel, and he won't take the bet. So then he's like, yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow, I'm going to Havana. And then they start talking about women, and then the whole thing is, well, I bet you couldn't, why aren't you going to Havana with a girl? Making a big deal about the fact that he's not going with a doll or whatever. And he's like, I could go with a doll if I wanted. And he's like, any doll? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, what about, so I bet you $1,000 that you couldn't go with any woman you wanted. And he's like, okay, fine, I'll take that bet. And then he goes, all right, Sister Sarah Brown, that one, take her to Havana.
Yeah, and this was all, like some of this was spurred on. Adelaide comes in before this, right?
I don't remember, honestly.
I think Adelaide comes in a little bit before this and is talking to him, asking Frank Sinatra's character to pick her up. And apparently Johnny Utah, or whatever the fuck his name is, Nathan Detroit.
Oh, I was really confused. I was like, who are we talking about?
Sorry, Johnny Utah is the bad guy from Tombstone.
Point Break?
Is it not?
I don't know. I thought Johnny Utah was the bad guy in Point Break.
I thought Johnny was... Oh, look. Johnny Utah.
I could totally be wrong.
I believe he was the Huckleberry.
He's also in Point Break. I think we're both right. Johnny Utah is Keanu Reeves' character. Okay, Johnny Utah. Tombstone, you said?
Yeah. Johnny Ringo.
Hey, I'm just
right.
Oh my God.
The other subtitle for this podcast is Austin's wrong about everything.
No, you're not. You were close. Johnny Utah could totally be the name of a cowboy.
Right, but
I just remembered it was a surfer, yeah.
But it wasn't. I got Point Break and Tombstone picks up, which means I lose my actor card, which is great because I never had an equity card to begin with.
It's fine.
So.
It's Point Break that you messed up. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I know that we all really remember the major contributions Point Break had to American cinema, and it's we totally know it's in the time capsule or whatever. Yeah.
Right. I'm pretty sure it's in the Library of Congress.
Is Point Break in?
Write to us if you know whether or not Point Break is in the Library of Congress.
The Criterion Collection. That's the one I was looking for.
John Denver has been engaged to Adelaide
for 14 years. Poor woman.
And, she's like, when are you going to marry me?
Oh, my God.
And, he's dodging and dodging and dodging. And that's what starts the conversation up about women between Sky and Carmen Sandiego. And they make this bet that Sky Masterson will not be able to specifically get Sarah Brown to go with him for dinner for one night in Havana.
Yeah.
It's a very specific place to be going from New York to Havana.
I don't think there's a direct flight.
I mean, there is now. This is before...
This is 55.
Yeah, this was before the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
okay.
Before, the Bay of Pigs and all that
they
kind
bet
of stuff.
him that he can't... They bet $1,000 that he can't tame the shrew.
Which, $1,000 is a lot these days. It was even more back in, 1955. Which, all of the musicals that we've been listening to recently have been between, 1954 and 1956. It's wild. Okay, so this is when, in the musical, did you notice...
Holy shit! Sorry, $1,000 in 1955 is equivalent in purchasing power to about $11,718 today.
Yeah.
That is a lot of money!
So, did you notice that...
Sorry.
The lack of contractions?
Oh, in how...
In the entire movie, that they almost never used any contractions at all?
No, I didn't.
None of that?
I didn't really notice that.
There's not a single... There's maybe 2 contractions said in the entire movie.
Huh. Any particular reason for that?
Yeah.
Just his writing style?
So Damon Runyon, when he wrote the book, he uses that as a way of showing that people are trying to look more educated than they are.
Okay.
And that's kind of become a theme, kind of a trope throughout cinema. But you can really, really see it. And this is one of those where it started to get a little bit irritating. I had looked up the trivia about this beforehand, and it's in there. So knowing that, it was just like I couldn't unhear it. I couldn't unhear it.
Yeah, I didn't notice it.
Yeah, it was really weird.
So Brando fucks off, right?
Yeah, Brando fucks off, and then we go to the Salvation Army.
Yes, the Salvation Army. And he comes in, and he's greeted by Arvid. I'm never going to say his name right. Arvid and Sister Sarah. And Sister Sarah's a little standoffish with him, and Arvid's like,
well, actually, no, we get a scene between Arvid and Sarah first.
Yes, yeah, because...
And this is when we find out about...
The mission is failing.
Well, the mission is failing, and that Arvid bought the watch.
Yes, Arvid's the chump. Yes, we'll get to the chump thing later, but yeah, Arvid bought the gold watch for $1, and then Brother Sky shows up, and then he's like, all right, I'll leave you 2 lovebirds alone, or whatever.
And Sarah Brown's very much like, hey, fuck off.
Yeah, she's not interested.
It's like, seriously, fuck and off.
I will say, they do not really have a lot of chemistry.
No, not from the beginning.
It gets a little better later, but initially, they do not have a lot of chemistry, so Brando's essentially doing all the chemistry for both of them.
So, in order to make this happen, Brando's character makes a bet with her.
Yes.
That he can get more than a dozen genuine sinners in the mission 2 nights later if she will go on a date with him to Havana.
Yeah, just go to dinner with him in Havana. There's nothing wrong with that. She won't get trafficked.
Right, and she tells him to fuck right off.
Yeah. Oh,
and then he
fucking
force kisses her, which was super gross.
It's not like that's a thing in the 50s, right? They did shit like that in movies. That was a storytelling device. It's ick.
And then we go into...
And then she slaps the shit out of him.
Yeah, and we go into a song called I'll Know, which is another major musical trope where the female romantic lead starts to sing about the man that she wants.
I think they sing and then she slaps him afterwards.
This is true.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry. I was making sure I'm remembering.
I do apologize for getting the timelines mixed up. I won't stop doing it, though, so get used to it.
Yeah, this is fine. Time is a flat circle.
So she sings about the man that she's going to end up with, and
Brando... He sounds very boring.
Brando sings about what he's looking for in a relationship, And that's the first time that we hear Brando sing in the musical. And if you look closely, his lip flap does not match his vocal.
So he's overdubbed?
He is overdubbed by himself.
Okay, I figured he was.
But each take that you hear, each time that you hear him singing, it has been Frankenstein together from about 20 different takes.
Oh, he's that bad of a
because
singer.
he's a terrible singer.
Aww.
And by his own admission, he said that his singing sounded like the mating call of a yak.
Why the fuck did they... Okay, he's a great actor. Why didn't they just hire someone else to sing the 2 or 3 songs he sings for him?
Yeah,
that wouldn't even be that odd. That happened in other musicals.
It's in there. It was in their contracts that the director was allowed to overdub them. Yeah, like
didn't Julie Andrews sing for Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady? They could have just hired someone to sing for Brando.
And that was in their contracts that they would let them do that, but because the director was so impressed with Gene Simmons and Marlon Brando's performances that he decided to say that, well, we're going to commit to this 100% and we're going to sing or die trying. Years later, Brando wrote in his autobiography, "They sewed my words together in one song so tightly that when I mouthed it in front of the camera, I nearly asphyxiated myself because I couldn't breathe while trying to lip sync."
Yeah, that's fucking hilarious. Okay, that makes a lot of sense because, like, I heard him singing and I was like, wow, he doesn't sound that bad. I was very surprised.
Yeah,
I did not think he could sing.
They Frankensteined it together from multiple takes.
That's pretty hilarious. Okay, that tracks.
So we finish up with that song. He sexually assaults her.
She slaps the shit out of him.
And as she's walking, she like readjusts herself, and then she doesn't just slap him. She like she pulls back and just bam. The only thing she was missing was some baby powder on that.
He did have a good line though. He quotes Matthew at her and says, "I'll be back because I have to turn the other cheek."
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty clever, but also he shouldn't have force kissed her.
He also corrects
her Bible verse,
a misquoted Bible verse that was in the mission.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now we go into what I lovingly call the Cat Girl Ballet, which is the song "Papa Pet Be Nice."
I said non-trans cat girls.
Yes, this is very transphobic because they have some severe cultural appropriation. I know you like to talk about cultural appropriation. They are appropriating trans culture. We all know that cat girls are supposed to be trans.
Yeah.
That being said, they do it badly.
The costumes were so ugly.
Are terrible.
Yeah.
I have never been less attracted to a cat girl in my life.
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't like it. It's not like it was, and you know, like in Oklahoma, there were things that were bad, but like it was interesting to watch and talk about because it's like, wow, this is fucking bad. But at least they like made a choice.
Yeah.
This whole musical is just kind of like, oh, okay.
This is also the first time that we're introduced to Adelaide's job, which she is a burlesque performer, basically, more or less a vaudeville performer.
And I don't know how the fuck she fronts a show with that awful character singing voice.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the same. The person who played Adelaide was also the same person that was in the original cast as well.
I mean, like I can tell that she's a very good singer. I just hate the Adelaide character voice.
It's written into the script that way.
I know it's written into the script that way, but like, it's really hard for me. Like, I can suspend disbelief for a lot of things. The hardest thing for me to suspend disbelief for is that anybody would book Adelaide with that singing voice to front a show that's supposed to be sexy.
Yeah.
It's not sexy. It's like, look rip, look cold, look blue, like, yeah. It's not sexy. Yes. And she's supposed to be this sultry performer, and she does this, like, really bad, like, Harley Quinn voice.
Yeah, and don't you come for my Harley Quinn voice.
Harley Quinn is less annoying than Adelaide.
Like, it's more like Frenchie from Grease.
Yes. Oh
my God, I dropped my diamond in the macaroni.
I don't want to talk, please. Shh.
Oh, we'll watch it eventually.
No, we'll not speak.
Oh, we're gonna watch it.
It's like the fucking.
I don't know when we're gonna watch Grease, but
no, nope. I don't get paid enough for that.
I'll pay you in sexual favors.
Just don't do any annoying character voices. Okay, but ugly cat girl costumes were not very good.
No, and like I said, this one wasn't. This is the first time that we're introduced to the dance crew, which was a very strange but very famous dance crew called the Goldwyn Girls, who were Samuel Goldwyn's in-house dance team back when, movie studios had in-house dance teams.
So like MGM's Rockettes.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
This is the last movie that they ever appeared in as well. So they do this whole big dance number. And
choreography's also weird.
It's annoying and weird and lame. Then we get the first scene with Nathan and Adelaide, and I think that their relationship was actually...
Solo.
What?
The first solo scene between them.
Yeah. And them on their own together, they're actually... I think they're quite cute together.
Yeah, I just feel like Nathan's just such an annoying character. Like, he's been with her for 14 years. She's been holding it down for this, like, bum, essentially, right? Because, like, he runs an underground crap game. So it's not like that's on his resume, right? So she's been holding it down for this man for 14 years. And he's just like, God, marriage is, like, the end of my life. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Grow up, sir. Like, she's an independent woman, been working, been doing her thing, building her career, and you host an illegal gambling ring.
I would say she don't need no man, but apparently she does.
Yeah, because, psychology or whatever, that's later. Oh no, that wasn't the scene. She doesn't sing the song. This is the song, is after their scene, right?
Afterwards, yes.
Yeah, so they have a conversation, and Nathan's on her phone in her dressing room trying to book this crap game that's not supposed to be happening, and he's lying to her about it. And then she comes back in, and she's trying to tell him that she's got a raise and they can get married. And he's, like, pretending to read her book on female psychology, and, like, she's trying to explain that, like, the doctor basically thinks that she's having a psychosomatic illness because she hasn't gotten fucking married yet.
Yeah.
It's also going to be subtitled Misogyny, the Musical.
Yeah.
Or Why Women Struggle with Healthcare Inefficiencies. But then he goes, and then she sings Adelaide's Lament, which is probably one of the more memorable songs, I think.
It's a well-written song, and it's all about how she has this psychosomatic illness, how, like, him stringing her along is giving her a cough, and le grippe.
Le grippe. I just hate this plot point of, like, Adelaide's just a woman and women just, make up illnesses when they're single and don't make babies.
Yeah,
before they're 30 or whatever. I'm like, Jesus,
it's like you said,
thing is so bad.
It's like you said, we went from Wife Beater the musical to Misogyny the musical.
Yeah.
I'm sorry this is so dark, but this is just how things were in the 50s.
No, it's not even that this is dark. I just feel like nowadays, the whole psychosomatic illness and, her clock's a ticking, and it just, I don't know. I just don't enjoy this.
The ticking clock thing is a thing.
Yeah, but like, the doctor going, oh, you have like an ongoing illness? Here, read a book about psychology because I don't actually believe you have a cold. That annoys me. But I mean, it's well executed.
So the next thing, the last thing that happens in that scene is her friend comes in to borrow some earrings.
Oh, that's right.
And she looks at Nathan. She's like, by the way, you're on my shit list because, I was all ready to go on a date with Society Max, and your crap game that you have scheduled made it cancel on me.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
And Adelaide just turns and like starts to walk out, and like Frank grabs a hold and like lets her pull him to her knees. And he's like, baby, I'm on my knees over here. And then we pan back to the soda shop, or the place with the cheesecake. And all of these high rollers and gangsters are there. This is the point at which, we're waiting for Sky Masterson to come and deliver on the bet because he wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, because there's no way that she would actually go with him or whatever. And they're planning for him to pay him. And so, yeah.
He's waiting for the call. All the gangsters are there. They're all wearing red carnations for some reason. I still don't quite understand that.
And then Brannigan shows up.
Yes, Lieutenant Brannigan.
Oh, they need the carnation to get into the game. That's the whole point of the coronation. Yeah, they need a coronation to get into the game, and then Brannigan shows up, and he's trying to bust him up, and then Adelaide's there for some reason.
Yeah, Adelaide walks in, and like, in order to get out of getting arrested for illegal gambling, his henchman basically tells him that, like, oh, look, now he's going to marry Adelaide. That was such a whole...
It's a bachelor party. Yeah.
Which Adelaide's there to hear, so now he's over a barrel because he's going to have to actually marry Adelaide. Heaven forbid, Adelaide, who is the best person in the world, like, just wants to make this man happy.
Just wants to have 5 kids with him, that's all. 5 kids that she lied to her mother about.
Oh, yes, and she has lied to her mother, and said that they are not only already married, but have 5 kids.
Yeah, oops, no big deal. How many Nathan Jr.'s do we have?
And I have in here, yeah, he really does mumble a lot, and how I just think there's something weird about Brando's lips.
So, I have a little bit of a gap in notes, so I think it's because I was glazing over here at this point.
So, then we pan back, we find out a little bit more about... We have the second interaction between Sky Masterson and Sweet Julie Brown. Oh, sorry, Sarah Brown.
Okay, yeah, I was like...
That's a joke.
Yeah, I didn't get it.
I know, it's because you know more about music than you do.
Who is Sweet Julie Brown?
It's a reference to Max and Knife.
You can cut the part out where you explain it. Okay, cool. My autistic ass over here. Who's that?
And this is when we meet the general of the Salvation Army.
General Cartwright.
Yeah. And we find out that they're going to shut the mission down. And Sky Masterson comes in and says, well, actually, and this is where we find out that he's going to win the bet, because she's willing to take one for the team, literally, and go on this date in order to save the mission. And it's like, because they're going to have this midnight prayer meeting, they'll consider the mission successful and keep it open. So he goes off with her, and then they find out that they're fucked because, he's not around, and...
They go to Havana.
She
does, in fact, go to Havana. So, they show up, and they're talking, and, it's still very much this... They don't have chemistry. There's no chemistry yet between the two of them.
No. Until he fucking gets her drunk.
And then the chemistry happens. And I will say that, it creeped me out a little. The Dulce de Leche thing creeped me out a little bit, but she did realize she was drinking alcohol.
Explain the Dulce de Leche thing.
So, she wants milk. They're at a restaurant and she's ordering milk. And basically Brando's insinuating that, you can't just be some dumb American. You should order something they drink here. And so he orders them 2 Dulce de Leches, which I've never heard of as a beverage.
Yeah.
Apparently it's like a rum and coconut milk.
It's like a rum milkshake.
Yeah, it's like a rum milkshake. And he explains to her that, it's got a preservative in it because of the heat. It's Bacardi. And she's like, doesn't Bacardi have alcohol in it? He's like, yeah. And then she's like, oh, I really like this milkshake. And she drinks all of her drink.
She drinks 8 of them.
Yeah, she gets smashed. I just have here... hammered. I have here in my notes, I have been this drunk before.
Yes.
Yes, I have.
Yes, you have.
So the switch flips, and she just goes from being having this giant stick up her ass to being I can feel the beat in my heart.
Well, and so there's another ongoing metaphor in this, in that you always see her playing with the second button of her jacket, and she'll open it, and then somebody her uncle will come by and close it for her. Or Sky will close it for her. And she unbuttons that button as a metaphor for her desire to escape her buttoned-up societal role.
That makes sense.
That comes up later in the scene, but you'll see, anytime that the character starts to feel the desire for Masterson, or feel the desire to get out of this tight, close world that she's in, she'll start playing with that.
She'll start stemming. Yeah. And I do appreciate the fact that, she gets hammered and, basically tells him, I know how to fix you as a sinner. We just have to always be together. And then she kisses him. And then he, he buttons her button and is just not right now, basically. You're smashed. We're not going to hook up right now. So while he did make a dick move by kissing her against her will earlier, he does clearly draw the line here that, this is inappropriate.
He's like, why don't we get you some food?
Yeah, basically, you need to go eat dinner. And then they cut to the restaurant scene.
Yes, the dance scene.
And, I really feel for Sister Sarah because I have been this drunk and danced this badly and gotten into a bar fight. So.
Yeah, so this the random hot Cuban chick, and by the way, I believe this is a rumba, or at least it should be.
It's a rumble.
No, it's a rumba. It's a rumba rumble.
A rumble.
Rumble.
Rumble would be a great band name.
So the hot Cuban chick is
you can tell she's
all
hot. She's
hitting,
smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, sexily. And all the men in this for some reason dance
the dancing
over.
Is so bad.
It's very strange.
It's really weird dancing. I don't like how it's choreographed.
So hot Cuban chick keeps trying to go dance
with Sky and
then,
nope.
And then eventually she catches her trying to do it, and she socks the girl straight in the mouth.
It's actually quite epic. Sister Sarah has like a mean fucking right hook, and she punches multiple people in this bar fight.
So after that, the girl grabs her jacket and rips her jacket off, and rips all the buttons off the jacket, and then it is on.
Yeah.
So she just starts going nuts and like throwing haymakers. And like, there's a big bar fight, and Sky's fighting, and she's fighting, and everybody's fighting, and then they were running from the cops. Fireman carries it. It's another musical with a fireman's carry in it.
Oh, yeah. Second in a row. Apologies if you hear any scratching. We have dogs. So the Rumble happens.
I completely lost my place.
I said, oh shit, bar fight. Sister Sarah has me right hook. Woman in love. After the bar fight...
and that's why, like, you know, you said it yourself. I think it's really cool that he doesn't make a move that entire time.
Yeah.
You know, because, when you're drunk, you can't consent.
Yep. So, he wants to, like, force her when she's sober, not when she's drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at least Marlon Brando or Sky Masterson understands that you cannot consent when you are drunk. Mark that one down.
So then we find out that the song that they've been listening to the entire time that they're in Cuba does have... So they get back to New York.
Yes, they go back to New York. They do not
we missed a song. We missed If I Were a Bell, which is her drunk song.
Oh, her drunk song,
She sings a drunk song.
She's a drunk song.
And it's a drunk song about how...
I want to swing from the chandelier.
Basically.
Yeah.
It actually really is kind of basically that.
But just imagine, like, Toad singing it.
And then, Sky is like, actually, you're just drunk. That bell that you heard ringing was not a magic love bell. That was a real bell telling us the time. And we're about to miss our flight. So we should go back to New York. So
he takes her back to New York, and they're outside the mission, and then they sing the number... A Woman in Love, which I thought was actually a pretty song.
It was a pretty song, and so A Woman in Love they've been listening to the same song. The same song keeps playing over and over in every place that they go in Cuba. And he's like, this song does have lyrics, and it's about the eyes of a woman in love. And it's very sweet, and they sing it to each other, and then...
Oh, God!
And freaking...
They've been bamboozled!
All of the... So the Salvation Army band has been going out and trying to do like a midnight mission to get all these people recruited to go to this big prayer meeting.
In the middle of the night. And so the mission's empty.
Except for it's not empty because all of the craps players, they decided to run the craps game in the mission while everybody was out. And so they come piling out of these like rats off a ship.
Because the cops are showing
up. And so... Sarah Brown and Sky Masterson are just kind of sitting there as all these people are piling out of this place like a clown car, and they're just looking at each other like, did you do that? Did you? No. And then, of course, she doesn't trust that.
Of course not.
And the cop shows up and sees her, running an illegal gambling game out of the mission, and so she thinks that Sky was in on it the entire time.
And that was the whole reason he was trying to take her to Cuba.
And he feels terrible because he wasn't.
Yeah. He was just trying to win a different bet. Come on. Get it correct here. He's just trying to not lose $1,000 to Nathan Detroit. He's not trying to fuck her over hardcore like that. So that happens. And they're like, oh no, that sucks. And Then we cut back to, I think, so they had the gambling night, and then they're supposed to get married. They're supposed to elope, right?
Yeah.
But Big Julie wants to keep playing because he's in the hole. And so they have a second night of craps.
Well, what happened was, so we pan over back to the Hot Box Club, which is where Adelaide works.
Yeah.
And you see Nicely sitting at a table with a couple glasses of beer, and he does not look happy to be there. Nicely. The fat guy.
I know, I said Nicely.
Yeah, Nicely's there, and so Sky walks in because he's pissed. He's looking for he's looking for Nathan. Joey Mississippi and
Johnny Utah.
Yeah, Johnny Utah, and he's not there, and he's like, Nicely, where is he? I need to talk to him. He's like, well, he's not here. He sent me here to deliver a message to Adelaide that he's not going to be able to elope tonight.
And I really hate delivering his messages.
He
makes a point of saying that because it's bad news. He's going to let his fiance down.
So he's there trying to get drunk in order to deliver this message to Adelaide.
Oh, and then also the women are singing, the Golden Girls or whatever.
The Golden Girls are singing
the Take Back Your Minka or whatever.
Yeah,
it's another
shitty song.
Well, and they're like, the whole premise of the song is like, you gave me all these gifts and then came over to my house and wanted to have sex with me, and that's the worst possible thing in the world that we would ever have sex. And that's the whole purpose of the song.
I'm not that kind of girl.
But then they take all their clothes off and they're in lingerie, and I'm like, this song makes no sense.
Well, because he's giving the gown back that you gave him.
Yeah, but now they're in lingerie. They're not that kind of girl, but now they're in lingerie.
It's because it's a vaudeville number.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's me being too literal.
You're being way too literal about this.
Yeah, it didn't do much for me. I did think that the lingerie was cute, though.
Yes, this was cuter outfits than the other ones.
Yeah.
So he goes in and he gives it. He has a speech to Adelaide, which I actually really like, because obviously Adelaide's really, really distraught.
Yeah, he goes in for nicely.
And he says to her, do you really love Nathan, or do you love what you could make him into?
Such a good speech, actually.
And he has a real point.
Yeah, and it's done really well.
Because Adelaide has been with Nathan for 14 years. She should know that this is who you're marrying.
Nathan's gone.
Yeah, he's been the same person since you've known him. And it's not fair for you to expect him to change just for you. It's not, you've got to love the person that you're with and not love the person that they might eventually become.
The idea of what they could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's why, honestly, sidetrack, I really do think that's the reason a lot of relationships fail.
It's true.
Yeah, a lot of people struggle with that.
Well, because, you see that, you see what the partner could be, but you've got to love the person in the moment.
Yeah, you have to love that person and know that they're not going to always make decisions you agree with.
Yeah, and you've got to love them unequivocally, unabashedly, and despite the circumstances, as long as you're not being physically harmed.
Yeah.
Or emotionally abused. As long as you're not being abused.
Yeah, now I will say, Nathan lying to her is a problem. But she's trying to get him to quit doing the craps game. I think that's
that's the issue.
Yeah, if he told the truth, I think she'd be okay. But she needs to accept that, this is what he's been doing,
Yeah.
And it's a really good scene, actually. Brando...
It's probably one of the better scenes in the movie, in my opinion.
I think Brando's chemistry with her was good. They interacted very well. Also, like I said, I think his acting choices are spot on in this movie. I think he really anchors it. He's not a great singer, but he's a great actor.
Marlon Brando, as much as famously a douchebag as he was unquestionably one of the greatest actors of his time, of his era. Unquestionably, without a doubt.
Yeah, he's the only reason this is watchable for me. Yeah.
So then we move on to Craps the Ballet.
Craps Ballet! Which, if this was a Rodgers and Hammerstein song, would be an instructional how-to song about how to play craps.
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not.
There are no lyrics. It's just an interpretive dance about a craps game.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
I will say the colors in this scene, the costumes with the colors they did for the pipes. The Luck Be a Lady stage was the coolest one.
Yeah, or it could also just look like a Dick Tracy comic strip.
I think the Dick Tracy comic strips look cool.
Okay.
Yeah. I will say that, like, I feel like for the most part, the costuming and the set design was incredibly boring for this beat.
It was
whole
so
show,
boring. The only
except for this one,
Yeah,
I think.
this one is a good
set.
Good set, and the suits were cool because they had lots of contrasting colors, but the suits were the only good thing about this musical. About the costumes in this musical. I saw maybe one other outfit that I would wear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ugh. Sky Masterson's suit in the final in this number is gorgeous.
With the
God, it's all black.
Oh, the lavender.
Yeah, it's all black with lavender suspenders and a gold tie. Oh my God, it looks great.
Yeah.
Then we go through this whole rigmarole.
Oh my God, and Big Julie is so annoying. He's like, I'm down $25,000 because I'm a fucking terrible craps player, so I'm gonna pull out my fucking
gun
and my dice that I've had all the numbers rubbed off on, but I have the numbers memorized.
I know what numbers go where.
And I'm gonna fuck Nathan Detroit over and take his money. Is basically how the scene goes. It's really frustrating to watch.
Yeah. And then
Brando shows up. Can I stop saying Sky Masterson because it's not a good name. I'll just say Brando.
I'm just gonna say Brando.
Yeah, it's fine.
So Brando shows up and his job is now to get these motherfuckers to church.
Yep, because
these motherfuckers need some Jesus.
Well, and he, like, at this point, like, he feels terrible, I think, for what he did, and he's gonna hold his mark.
And he has given her his marker.
Yeah,
which is like
an IOU, basically. Yeah. So he bets all of the gamblers $1,000 each, quote unquote, against their soul.
Yes, $1,000 each.
The devil, like, went down to Georgia. Like,
the devil went down to the sewer, and he was looking for some souls to steal.
Yeah.
He was in a bind, and Big Louie was way behind. Julie.
Yeah, Big Julie was behind and looking to make a deal. Yeah, I was giving that for sure. Side note, I did not know this until yesterday, but apparently in Johnny's fiddle solo in The Devil Went Down to Georgia, everything he said... Oh, this is a big sidetrack. Oh, I know. He says, like, fire on the mountain, run, boys, run. That's a song, and that's what he plays. So everything he says is a
Chicken
classical...
in the bread house, picking out dough.
Yeah, every single line in that is actually a song, and then he plays it.
Yeah,
so he plays so many songs. The devil just plays one little run, and it's not very... Yeah, so I just learned that yesterday, and I was like, holy shit, I did not know that. Sorry.
That was a real big sidetrack.
You can cut that if you want. It's fine. Just put it in the outtakes. We should just cut all of the most random shit that we do and put a random fact episode.
We'll make an outtakes episode. I'm just going to make one whole outtakes episode with nothing but our ums and ahs.
Oh, don't do that.
I'm just going to cut them all into a soundtrack where it's going to be 30 minutes of
and then dogs barking.
And then a cat taking his shit.
Yeah, this big cat taking a shit. So Luck Be a Lady. God bless Marlon Brando. He cannot sing. I put interesting singing choices from Brando.
That, like, it's almost monotone the entire time.
He acted it really well.
Oh,
though.
Yeah, it was really well acted. It was terribly sung. And so this is
They should have just paid someone to sing it.
Yeah, and this is another instance of Frank Sinatra being just real petty. He wanted the lead so much, and he was quoted as saying that, like, Brando knew he wasn't right for Masterson. He knew he wasn't right for that part.
That's not his fucking job. It's like getting mad at your coworker because they got a promotion and you didn't. They didn't get to choose who got picked.
So, in order to stick it to Brando, I guess, he kept Luck Be a Lady as one of his go-to sets. He played it in almost every single concert that he did for like 30 years.
I'm sure Brando was so hurt by that.
He never let it go.
You know what's kind of crazy, though? Marlon Brando lived in Frank Sinatra's head rent-free for 30 fucking years.
This is true. So Luck Be a Lady is all about literally praying to Lady Luck. Because, again, gambling is their religion. He is literally praying to the goddess of luck.
I don't know. It doesn't. I mean, like, it feels real deep for it. Like,
no, it is. Listen to the lyrics.
Yeah, Luck Be a Lady. Well, he refers to.
He
luck
literally says, "I have to pray."
Yeah.
To Lady Luck. They call you Lady Luck, and sometimes you're fickle.
Yeah, but I don't think okay, I do understand the analogy that, like, they don't have religion and so they gamble instead, but, like, it could be a bit, it's not like it's an organized religion.
I think it's well, it's not, of course it's not an organized, it's a metaphor.
Yeah, no, I get it. But also, he refers to lady as, like, a person, and, like, saying that, like, if a woman showed up to a party with you, they wouldn't go blow on someone else's dice, that, like, he came in with luck and luck will stay with him. Like, it was, I didn't think that the song, it's a good song. It's the best song in the whole musical.
No, we all know that the next song's the best.
Sue Me?
No, Sit Down, You're Rocking the Boat.
I hate that song.
Sue
Me happens after. But yeah, Luck Be a Lady happens. He plays the dice and he wins.
He does. And we get a scene, we get another Alabama Shakes scene. I'm sorry, I'm trying to come up with more names for Frank Sinatra's character.
Yeah, I think that one was a swinger.
Yeah,
Just put that in the outtakes episode.
So anyway, we have another Frank Sinatra scene with Adelaide.
Sue Me.
Yeah, with Sue Me. And I'll pop in with another little thing here. So, Frank Lesser, the guy who wrote the musical, really wanted Frank to play this role more comedically. But Frank wouldn't, because he was still stuck on the romantic lead idea.
Yeah.
And nobody had the guts to tell Frank Sinatra how to sing the song. Even Brando was like, why don't you tell him how you want to sing it? And the director wouldn't do it. And Brando said he would never work with that director again in his life, and he didn't. But even the writer of the musical itself was trying to get
Sinatra not be sing, a giant douchebag.
Well, no, to sing it the way that it was supposed to be sung.
Yeah, because Adelaide's singing it, like, she's a very impressive singer, and, like, her style is, it's like they're singing two different songs. That explains a lot, because some of the directing in this, I think, was just fucking terrible.
Yeah, so I have here, it said Frank Sinatra refused to perform his one ballad, Adelaide, in character as the comic Bronx accent in Nathan Detroit, turning on all of his romantic crooner charm. Instead,
and it doesn't read right.
And Frank Lesser was pissed, and he said he's like trying to get Frank Sinatra to do it, and Frank Sinatra looks at Frank Lesser, the person who wrote the damn show that he's in, and said, "We'll do it my way, or you can fuck off."
He's such a douchebag.
And when Brando pointed out to Mankiewicz that he should tell Sinatra how to sing his songs, he said, "We can't have two romantic leads." Mankiewicz refused to do anything about it, and he never worked with him again.
Yeah, like, and I don't, you don't exactly hear about a lot of Mankiewicz movies.
No, you do.
What else did he do? You gotta be bad when everyone, like, looks at this and goes, "You're the douchebag, not Marlon fucking Brando." Like, you gotta be a real douchebag to out-douche Brando. But yeah, like, the juxtaposition between the actress who played...
All About Eve, Cleopatra, A Letter to Three Wives,
what?
Sleuth. Yeah.
He did Cleopatra?
He did Cleopatra.
With Liz Taylor and Richard Burton?
Yes.
I love that fucking movie.
He did The Barefoot Contessa, he did Julius Caesar.
Did you do all that before Guys and Dolls or after, though?
No, Guys and Dolls was in the middle of it.
Oh, no shit. Wow.
Cleopatra was after.
Okay, well, I take it all back. I guess you don't hear about a lot of Mankiewicz and,
Brando. They don't ever work together again. They only work together once and never again.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but the Sue Me song, like, it falls apart because, like, Adelaide is singing, clearly understands the purpose of the song, and Sinatra doesn't. And it does, I'm not gonna lie, that makes a lot of sense what you shared too, because Sinatra sings all of his songs exactly the fucking same.
I like Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, he does not attempt to act at all when he sings, and that shit drives me nuts. Like, it doesn't matter that he's a better singer than Brando. I prefer Brando's cobbled together singing, because at least he's acting like the character.
Well, yeah, and Marlon Brando was famously, and ironically, Marlon Brando is the one who is famously hard to work with.
I know!
Like, he is a terrible person to work with, legendarily.
Like the whole Apocalypse Now thing, where he wouldn't even, he wouldn't learn his lines.
And he showed up, 50 pounds overweight.
And they had to shoot him all in, shadow perspective.
Yeah.
And, he had to read his cue cards and shit like that. Yeah.
And so here's another little fun thing. So Sam Goldwyn liked Brando's performance so much that he rewarded him with a brand new white Thunderbird, which Brando immediately started racing all over Hollywood. Mm. And in return, Brando actually went on a promotional tour for the film, and he never did that. Brando never did promos.
Oh, No.
Never, ever, ever, ever. But he only did like 3, and then he started refusing to do any more of them and said, yeah, I think I did enough with that White Thunderbird.
Ah, that's fucking hilarious. That's quite funny. Also, isn't he from, like, Nebraska, you said?
Yeah, he's from Omaha.
It's so funny that he ended up always playing, like, these New York Italian gangster types.
Yeah, he's
like,
from
and he's from
freaking
fucking
Omaha.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then, they win the bet.
So all
and
the
then
people
they go
load
the
in. They go to the mission, and it's full of sinners. And Brannigan shows up, and he's gonna try to bust them. And then he walks in the middle of nicely doing his testimony, which is sit down, you're rocking the boat.
Yeah, it's about a dream that he had.
He had a dream about like he was,
on a ship to heaven. He
was on a boat going to heaven, and like he was sinning. And it would make the boat rock, basically. And
that's the song.
Sit down, you're rocking the boat. Yeah, and that's the song. And then, like, basically, Brannigan looks at Sarah and says, hey, you were here, you saw these men. Like, they were the ones playing craps. And she looks at the detective and goes, I've never seen them before.
I've never seen these men before in my life.
And then he looks at Frank Sinatra on the way out and goes, like, was my name Brannigan? And he's like, yep. And then he leaves. Oh. And then Sinatra spills the beads to the mission people and says, "We did do the thing, and
I'm sorry,
and we're sorry, aren't we, boys?" Slaps
and Big Julie is like, "Yeah, I'm sorry."
They apologize and cops to it, and he also
says that Sky had nothing to do with it.
Sky had nothing to do with it, and then also that he's the person who bet Sky about taking her to Havana, and that he was glad to hear.
Oh, and that we forgot to tell him that Sky told Nathan Fillion. I mean, sorry, Nathan Detroit, Nathan Nebraska, Nathan Omaha, that he had lost the bet and
he never took Sarah and paid him $1,000. And so he tells Sister Sarah that, he's really glad to hear that, she was never infected because of the bet. And then she runs off to go find him.
Yeah.
And then it ends
with 2 weddings.
With a double wedding in the middle of Times Square.
Yeah. Quote unquote Times Square. Ugh. That's dumb.
Yeah, I will say a couple things in the end.
Nicely ends up joining the
joins the mission band, which I thought was so sweet. And Nicely and General Cartwright catch the bouquet.
Yes, and so they're like...
So it's implied that they'll
be married next.
And that the wedding scene is fine.
It was fine.
It was fine, and that's it. I feel like we kind of talked a lot about it already. You
want some fun? You want some more fun facts?
Yeah, let's do some more fun facts.
Okay,
I don't really have a lot to add.
Gene Simmons was not the original pick for this role.
Who was it?
So several different people went up for it. Garbo went up for it.
No shit.
Marilyn Monroe wanted to play Adelaide, but
my god!
Wanted to play Adelaide. But Mankiewicz didn't want to work with her because apparently she pissed him off when she appeared in All About Eve.
Oh, yeah.
Betty Grable was in talks to play Adelaide, but she was an animal lover and she canceled a meeting with Sam Goldwyn to be with her sick dog, who had to be taken to a vet with a broken leg, and Goldwyn got pissed and would reschedule the meeting.
Oh God.
Sam Goldwyn was also kind of legendary as, like, kind of a Weinstein type of a figure.
I believe it.
He was legendary for having, like, a big old casting couch.
Get the fuck out of here. Just won a Golden Globe for Best Picture. Musical or comedy.
I mean, the tastes change with the times. They really do.
Jean won Best Picture, or Best Actress. Adelaide.
For the Golden Globes? The Oscars?
Yeah, Golden Globe for Musical or Comedy Best Actress. So... It was nominated for 4 Oscars. Did not win.
Gene Simmons and Mankiewicz got along really, really well. Years later, she said, I was aware that he was in love with me, and I think I went with him. I was with him, which we really never admitted to anybody.
Aww.
So, they were low-key really crushing on each other.
Oh, that's really adorable. Any other interesting fun facts?
I mean, not really.
Well, let's do our ratings then. Guys and Dolls. Okay. So, would this pass the Bechdel test?
No.
No, because I don't think two women have any conversation.
Yes.
Whoa, I lied. Cartwright and Sister Sarah have a conversation about the mission together.
That's true. It passes the Bechdel test.
Technically passes the
Bechdel test.
Yeah, it technically passes the Bechdel test. Who would you want to play in this show?
I would play Sister Sarah. I would totally do that. If we're going for roles that I could sing.
I think you're totally an Adelaide.
I don't want to be an Adelaide.
Oh my god, you'd be such a good Adelaide.
Yeah, I would be the one up on stage, wouldn't I be?
You would be an Adelaide, for sure.
Yeah.
I can safely say that I don't think I'd want to play anybody in this musical.
Yeah, I don't think. You've been in it once, you're good.
Yeah,
huh?
I don't think I would. And I was like a mission person, so I don't think I'd want to play anybody in this musical. Standout Extra Award, or guest side character.
For me, it's a toss-up between Nicely Nicely and Uncle
Arvid.
Arvide.
Yeah. For me, it's absolutely hands down Nicely Nicely. He's my favorite. Favorite musical number?
Yeah, it's got to be Luck to Be a Lady.
Oh yeah, for sure. Luck to Be a Lady. That's an easy one. Okay, so how would we rank the singing?
Fine. Not that great, honestly.
Not as good as Oklahoma.
No, not as good as Oklahoma, and not as good as... Definitely not as good as Carousel.
I give it a 4.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, okay. How's the acting?
Because of Brando's presence, I will bump that up to probably, I'll say it's a 7.
Really? I just don't feel like anyone else does a good job, though.
Yeah, if anybody else had done a good job, it would have been higher.
You're going for a 7 on it?
Yeah, you can go lower.
I'm going to go lower just because I don't really like a lot of the acting choices in this one.
That's fair.
Because we gave Oklahoma a 3.
Oh, okay. Yeah, lower that then.
Okay, so I'm going to give this... We gave Carousel a 7.
Right.
I think Carousel was better acted than this. Consistently, because
I'll move mine down to a 5.
That's what I was thinking was like a 5. I think that's probably fair. Set design, like a 3.
If that.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
I'll give it a 3.
The Luck Be a Lady set.
Yeah, I'll give it a 3, but that's generous.
Yeah, it was just very boring. All of it was very boring and ugly looking.
Costumes is a 3 too. Honestly, the costumes sucked.
Yeah. Musical composition.
5. It's fine.
Luck Be a Lady song is good, but that's like the only... That one and then the Woman in Love song I think are the only 2 I like.
Yeah, I give it like a 4 or 5.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay, I'll stick with 5.
I gave Oklahoma a 4, so I feel safe giving it a 4.
Overall
ranking.
I liked this less than Oklahoma.
You ranked Oklahoma a 6.
I'll give it a 5. I didn't care for this.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one I'm gonna give it a 3.
Yeah, I really didn't like it. I did not care for this at all.
I struggled because, at least with Oklahoma, they would swing and miss.
Yeah, and it's disappointing for me. This was just
so blah.
It was really disappointing for me because, I thought Marlon Brando, Frank Sinatra, I thought this had a real chance of being interesting, but no, this just kind of sucked.
Brando made it watchable. And, it made me want to go back and watch other old Brando. Because I've not really seen young Brando stuff. But I thought that his acting choices were great. But, the writing was fine. The story was cohesive and passable. The plot was fine, unlike Carousel.
Yeah.
But it's wild how, with Carousel, we did not have a cohesive plot. The story was weird. But the music was so well done and the acting was good, that it made up for a lot of sins. Because Guys and Dolls has the opposite problem of it's a well-constructed, tight story, the pacing is fine, it's got a plot, it moves, it has a good payoff, and I hated everything about it.
Okay. So, I think for next time, I'm gonna pick one that I know has fun costumes and good music.
Oh no, are you picking The King and I?
No, I am picking The Music Man.
I've never seen The Music Man, so we'll swap back.
Yeah,
I was.
We will do The Music Man.
All right, folks. Well, have a fantastic morning, afternoon,
76
evening?
trombones led the big parade.
Oh, I'm really gonna like this one, aren't I?
No, it's fun. Actually, the Music Man is fun, and you have totally heard songs from it before.
Oh.
It's like Till There Was You, and
No. I don't know that one offhand.
Got Trouble?
No.
Oh, man.
No, I really do think I'm going on this one largely blind. So.
This one's fun. At least this one has a lot of spirit to it.
Oh, good. Who's in it? Do you know?
I couldn't tell you to save my life. Let's look it up.
That's exciting. Well, yeah, honestly, that's for next episode.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's all for us today. Remember, I don't fucking know.
Don't drill a hole in your head.
No. No.
Not that one.
No. Remember, drunk girls can't consent.
Drunk girls can't consent.
Have a good night.
Bye.